Well, we got our first real snowfall. Which means I have to scrape the car a little bit. But it looks pretty. That it does. Now my little dad tip of the morning is, gosh, you really can't see, is that you're really supposed to legally clean off your entire car. I usually do it just because I don't want it, dumping off onto the parts of my car that I've already cleaned. I spent all that time working on the back window and I don't want it to get covered with snow again. But here in the state of Ohio, I think I don't know if it's state law or if it's more of a local law, but you, it's the right button. Yeah, it's so that it doesn't blow off and hit somebody else in their car. So you're legally required to do it. Now I don't know how many cops on a day like today would be the one to cite you for that, but hey, safety first. It's Monday. The work here continues. They've started offering valet parking for folks, but we have plenty of parking. I hate to be sarcastic on a Monday morning, but sometimes you just have to be. All right, it's Monday. We're going to have a great day. Let's make our day. It's a typical work day, but we did pick up a caroling gig this evening, so I got some more singing to do later. And listen to me, I sound great. All right, take care. See you, bye. The blades on this car that that's how rotten they were. They destroyed my hands. All right, one job done now. Lunchtime. So today's project, as you can see, was taking the fence from here, filling up the holes, and moving things back to there. I'm sure the guys that had to do it were very frustrated by the fact that that was something that they had to do. And I feel for them. This was something they were tasked with doing. I'm sure it's to add some more parking spaces because the parking situation has clearly been something of a cluster. We now have valet parking, as I mentioned earlier. That's a bummer. But you don't know until you do it sometimes, and that's what happened to them. So kudos to the guys for having to knock that whole section of fence, lay it down, move all the poles, and move the fence back. I feel for them. I really, truly do. Well, I am waiting for my tenor to arrive so we can carpool to this caroling gig, which is all the way in College Hill, right near where my brother lives, and we are pushing it time-wise. It's a 45-minute-ish concert that we're going to have to put on. So pretty much just like what we did yesterday, a slightly different cast of characters. It'll be fine, but I just want to get on the road. I want to get there, and Paul doesn't text or answer his phone when he drives, which is very safe of him, but I'm getting a little nervous. All right, it's Monday, another caroling gig. Happy Christmas, Merry Advent. This is the caroling life, apparently. Woohoo! Caroling, 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 now we go. Yeah. Good morning. We're late to work. I totally did not set my alarm last night. And just kind of thought, hey, I should take a look at my watch, and it was 7:20 or so. I had to stop and get air in a tire because I'm driving the car because the kid wants his car, which is perfectly reasonable. So here we are. It's a glorious Tuesday. A little bit of snow, which I love. So, hey, let's go out and make that day. Things are peachy, things are good, just because I'm a little gravelly because of too much singing and overslept is nothing to get upset about. Of course, I really need to do the rear brakes on the car that I'm driving, my old Camry, because it's grown like a beast, but they're disc brakes,
So it's just brake pads, and it's super easy to do. I watched a YouTube video about it last night. All right, let's do it. Let's get on with our day. People are parking along the fence where they opened up those spaces, and I'm going to say right now that it actually did take some pressure off. It made a difference. So kudos to whoever decided to do that. You are a smart person, and I appreciate you.
It's Tunes on Tuesday. Today's Tunes on Tuesday is including a flute and a steel drum and a ukulele and guitar. It's pretty good stuff. I'm gonna go back to my turkey ribbon now. So here's one of the fun things about the amount of moisture that's in this car. I just used these napkins to wipe off the inside of the windshield. So all those drops you see are on the inside, and this much is still dripping onto my dash from where I've dripped and wiped it because of whatever leak that's letting all this water into my car that ends up hanging out in the passenger side floor wells. I can't even communicate to you just how much water that is. Awesome. All right, so today's plan is right now I'm gonna head to AutoZone's and get myself some rear brake pads because I just can't keep driving the car like this. Just can't. Can you hear it? It's awful. I did, when I got into the car, I felt the rotors just to see if they were grooved and torn up, and they're actually just kind of rusty. There's a really small channel of shiny where the brakes have been engaging. I'll show you that when I go to do the work, but that's good. It means it's going to be $30 for brake pads, and that's it. Of course, we're keeping our fingers crossed that there won't be any other damage or I don't break a bolt or anything trying to get it on, because I do need to drive the car. Not so much. I'm working from home tomorrow, and there's no caroling tonight, so I have a little bit of time on my side. All right, I gotta drive. I can't look at you and drive. Yeah, I know I need to turn that off so I don't get content strike, copyright infringement, whatever. It was just a little bit. Also on this, just finished my afternoon snack. These are lovely. Too many carbs, but they're lovely. They actually do make you feel like you've eaten something, which a lot of times the protein bars and meal replacement things don't feel like you ate something. As I'm heading off to go to AutoZone, I pronounced it AutoZones before. It's a joke. It's an in-joke. Used to work with a guy, and he would put an S on the end of all kinds of words like that. You probably know people that do it too. And so places like Kroger, which is a national grocery store chain founded here in Cincinnati, we say Kroger's because it was Barney Kroger's store. It's apostrophe S, but people say Kroger's, and it's Kroger. So as a joke, some of us add extra S's onto things that already have the S. So AutoZone becomes AutoZones, becomes AutoZones if we're really making fun of this guy that I used to work with. Anyway, I have absolutely no recollection about why I wanted to talk to you some more. It was car related. It had something, I don't know. I remembered my mistake today at work. I actually didn't want to drive this car because of the brakes. So I didn't go out and get lunch. I had lunch in the office and went to our cafe and got lunch there. What I really should have done was gone to there's a couple of neighborhood tire places near where I work, and I probably could have gotten some cheap gently used tires for this car. I need 2. I've got the spare on, full-size spare on one, and then my back driver's side tire has a slow leak. So we filled it up 2 days ago, and I had to stop and get air this morning. I was down to 16 pounds according to the pay for air thing down at the corner. So that was my mistake. I should have done that because I'd probably save a ton of money, because this, again, car has 918 miles on it. Wow. So we're getting quite close to 251,000 miles on this car. And I ain't buying expensive tires. All right, see you, bye. What I have found myself doing since yesterday is to help decelerate, I am actually downshifting in this automatic car. I'm putting it in 2, and then I'll put it in low when I'm approaching a stop, because I just can't handle the sound of the rear brakes going, and I don't want to shred the discs up, because I don't have the wherewithal to machine them, and I ain't buying new ones. Oh yeah, so downshifting 101 is usually what happens when the engine brake, as it were, low gear sets in. Don't do this at home, folks. I'm a very experienced driver. Well, that was a bit of fun. You know, you enter your credit card information, and then AutoZone has its reward program. So as usual, I threw out the little Dave Thomas, not the founder of Wendy's joke. And David, who was working at AutoZone, actually had experience with Dave Thomas, the founder of Wendy's. He worked for his partner, and I think encountered him multiple times. He knew his son. His son, when he turned 21, got $1 million. But Dave would come into town, and every time he came into town and saw him, came to where he was working, he'd give him a $100 bill every time, just because. It's all right. See, I've never been ashamed to share my name with Dave Thomas. It's sometimes a little frustrating because it's an instant joke, and did you name your daughter Wendy and all, but that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So of course I told him about the one time I got a free meal because my name was Dave Thomas. Just one time all these years, man. What are we doing, pray tell? That's right, we are loosening all of our lug nuts so that we may do the quickest, well, second quickest, I hope, brake pad replacement ever. Quickest brake pad replacement ever was when I worked for my father-in-law, and one of the guys that I worked with was a certified mechanic, motorcycle mechanic, but certified mechanic. And on a half an hour lunch break, we drove to another place within about a mile and did the front brake pads on his Ford Mustang. Boom, boom, boom. All I did was help because he was really fast. And then got back to work because we had a half an hour for lunch. We had 2 15-minute breaks and a half an hour for lunch. And dang it, we got it done that fast. Man, he was good. I wonder what he's up to these days. Chris, I don't know. All right, that's off of there. We finally found the correct socket. Now, ideally, this should just swing up, but as you can see, this is crusting on here something fierce. So this is gonna be a bigger bit of a job just to get that pad out of there. Wish me luck. All right, here we are back in the car. Ooh, that's loud. The water that had formed on the inside of the window is returned, of course, but it's now cold enough that it's freezing. It's freezing. I went to get some paper towels to clean it off, and what I really need is a scraper. That's why the thing was on full blast. Yay, me. All right, we're gonna test the brake job though. See how it goes. It's still making noise, so something's dragging. I don't think it's either the brake calipers, because it doesn't sound like that. It sounds different. But it's certainly not, the brakes aren't grinding, so I definitely did need to do the brakes, so that part at least is good. We'll see. They were victorious. Victorious. Victorious.